Hi everybody, it's Susan with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have a Stampin' Show and Tell for you today, but first I want to say Happy June! It is new catalog day. I officially can show you the catalog now because it has gone live. We are celebrating our 30-year anniversary, Stampin' Up! Is, and our motto is love it, live it, share it, and that's what we're doing. I'm loving it, I'm living it, as my family well knows, and I really love to share it. So, if you're one of my customers, you should already have your catalog in your hands. And if you'd like to be my customer or need a catalog from a demonstrator, I would be happy to be that demonstrator for you. So contact me with my link below. Let me know you need one and where to send it, and I'd be happy to do that for you. So, we have a color revamp, which we'll be talking about in some future videos. We have new in colors that have come out. And of course we have new products, and we've said goodbye to some old products. But today we're going to do a little stamping, little when I say, because we're going to do some tags today. So I think I've talked to you before about the fact that I participate in some Facebook groups, and one of the Facebook groups I participate in is called Joy of Sets. It's not a Stampin' Up! Specific set Facebook page. It was created by Fiona Whitehead. I believe she's from the UK. She puts challenges out there and crafters share their projects and such not. It doesn't have to be Stampin' Up!, but many are Stampin' Up! And so she put out a challenge last month to do a tag swap, and I participated in the tag swap. So I had swapped with one other person, and that person I swapped with was Carrie Alberg. She was from El Paso, Texas. And so she sent me this beautiful card that has a tag on it. See that? So it's a full card. Okay, and then it has that tag insert on it as an embellishment. And that was from the Bunches of Blossom stamp set that just retired. And then she also sent me this fun tag using the truly tailored designer series paper and stamp set that we had on our spring occasions. And see that? Nice tag to put on a bag or a gift. So those were the swaps I received. Now I'm going to show you the swap I sent. So I used the Share What You Love designer series paper because that was the hot commodity last month as a pre-order. So I had that in my possession to use. So these are the papers from the Share What You Love suite, which I've used a lot and we're going to use again, as they're going to be my card candy this month and my bundle to go offer. Both of which information you find on my newsletter, which comes out on Tuesday. But let's see, where'd they go? This is the tag I crafted for Carrie and sent to her. So I used designer series paper. I used a stamp and cut it out with the Love What You Do stamp set. I used some of our new fun pearlized doily, our tag. I used the Making the Difference stamp set to make the word congrats. I showed you how to do that on a card last week. And then we have a fun, that double-sided paper on the inside, and then some place to write a message. So I'm actually going to show you how I put this one together in just a minute. And then I have a second one I've created that I didn't send in my tag swap, but I wanted to make two for you today on the video. So this one I'm using one of our new in colors. This is Grapefruit Grove from the In Color series. It's that same designer series paper, but this time it has that peachy color. And instead of using black as my base color, I used Early Espresso. And we're going to use this die, the Celebrate die from the Celebrate Youth Inlets, which some of you may have from the Celebration catalog from earlier this year. It's got the Amazing You and Celebrate. These are in the new catalog as an orderable item, so if you didn't get them during Celebration and you just have to have them, you can order them now. So I'm going to show you how I put that one together. So let's go ahead and do some stamping today, and we'll just get right into it. So let me show you the green one first. So tags are kind of a fun thing to do with leftover embellishments or leftover designer series paper, so don't ever think a piece of scrap is too small to be used, because sometimes you just need something small, like a tag, to embellish a package, or even to then incorporate onto a full-size card. That would work too. Okay, so I have my designer series paper. I've scored it and folded it in half. The last time I did it with the purple side out and the green side in. This time I'm going to flip it and do the green side out, just so we come up with something a little different. I am backing it on a piece of Mossy Meadow. And so what I do is I'm putting the open end of my designer series paper in my triple banner punch. And I'm putting them in at the same time. You could do one end and then the other. Just make sure it's all the way in and trim off those tails. Okay? So there's as easy as that gets, right? Then I have a piece of Very Vanilla for the inside. It's trimmed down to 1 3/4, so it'll be inset from the edges a little bit when we do that. So you can still see the edging around it, and we'll see it on the top. That'll be some place to put our note. I'm going to take a piece from this Pear Pizzazz with my Pretty Label punch. I'm going to punch that out. So I have my tag topper. I've already stamped from the Love What You Do stamp set the image of the flowers. And this time I'm going to use my Rich Razzleberry Light blend to add some color to these flowers. Remember, you need to stamp with Memento ink when you're going to use the blends, because the blends are alcohol ink. So I'm just going to get some color on there. And then, as you can see, I've taken the pearlized doilies and I've cut them in half, so we're only going to use half a doily. And we're just going to have to trim out these flowers to make our embellishment on the front. See how I layered the embellishment on that one? So really, out of bits and pieces, you could come up with some fun embellishments to either use as tags on their own or to use as embellishments on the front of your card projects. So, kind of a fun way to think about tags is it's a small embellishment that can be used on a bigger project. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick trim of these with my paper snips. I just kind of let my scissors glide around the image. I'm not going to worry about getting all of the Very Vanilla off from around my flowers. It's okay with me that it kind of has that halo effect. If you want to give it extreme attention, you certainly can trim it much closer to the line, but I'm not going to do that, at least not today. So see how quickly we can just trim those out? Now I know not trimming with paper snips is for everybody. Some of you I know who I stamp with have hands that will betray you and shake, and it's not a delight to trim out these things. But for those of you who, on good days like me, have a steady hand, it really is a nice way to add a personalized touch to a project. Okay, so let's see. We've got our base, we've got our tag, we've got our liner, we've got our die cut, we've got our doily, we have our tag. Okay, so for this tag, I think from the Love What You Do set, this time I'm going to put the thank you on the front of it. So I'm just going to stamp that with Memento. Keep the project simple, just use one ink. There we go. And then I think for the inside, this one is blank, but on the inside I'm going to stamp Love What You Do. So like thank you, I love what you do is the idea here. So you could send it as a thank you gift to someone. There we go. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and put this together for you real quick. Won't take much. Okay, so my snail, spot that on my table. So let's go ahead and put the label on the inside. So I'm just going to center that on this half of the tag. So you see I've got the border around the edges, and then the top has still got that pretty paper on it. Then this, I'm just going to snail it down to my trim piece. Now if you didn't want to trim it, you could just leave it like this, but I wanted it to have a little more body, so I've got this backing piece for that. Now our two pieces here are going to overlap. So in this scenario, I can go ahead and put my snail right across where I'm going to put that doily. and then stick it down. You wouldn't want to do that if this was going to remain open on a project, because then you'd have stick where you don't want it. Alright, the thank you we're going to put on with dimensionals. Now I'm putting on dimensionals for two reasons. One, I like to have a little pop on the card. But secondly, when we put the flowers on our card, I want to be able to slide the tail of flowers up and under this tag. So I'm just going to put this near the top. And I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of our flower here as well. And remember, those blends bleed through, so you always want to have either the piece backed or make sure you're not coloring on top of other cardstock when you do it so it doesn't bleed through where you don't want it to go. Alright, so I've got that popped up, and then just like I said, I'm just going to slide this tail underneath the tag, and then I can position it where I want on there. So a little bit of fun. And then I did add our artesian pearls, which come colored, and so this one I think we're going to go ahead and use the ones that are in the purple hue here. So just some fun embellishments for that. So there we go. That was pretty easy, I think. And like I said, you can just use up those scrap pieces of Design Your Series paper and your tags and your cardstock and add some fun embellishments, and you've got yourself another fun embellishment to use on another project or as a tag. Okay, let me show you how I put the second one together. So this time I'm using another piece from that Design Your Series paper set, and I'm using the new Grapefruit Grove. So now there's that Celebrate die I was talking about. Okay, so this time I've decided to use a vanilla tag as my base so that when you open it, you've got all this space to write on. Okay, so I don't have to line it, it's going to be its own liner. So the same thing, I'm going to slide my folded 2-inch wide. This one happens to be scored at 4 1/4 and starts at 8 1/2. But don't worry about that, all my details will be on the blog next Tuesday, so you just have to subscribe to the Show and Tell news and you'll have access to all the details and measurements. So that's just going to go on like that. We can go ahead and do that now. So again, I just lined the back of this with some of the same coordinating color. Then I have another piece of Design Your Series paper. This time I'm starting at the 4 1/4, the same length that we started at our scored Very Vanilla, and I'm putting that in the punch as well. So that's going to end up the same size as my front. Pretty sneaky, right? Yeah, I know. So there's our front, so we're just going to put that on. So far we're just really mounting one piece on top of another. Nothing difficult there. Now, I do have another piece that's 2 inches by the 3/4, because when I wanted the tag to be opened up, I wanted to have a little bit of extra finesse here on the end. So I'm just going to put this little piece of scrap on the end of the inside of my card, just like that. Okay, now I've noticed that I've got a little piece of vanilla showing along the bottom of my tag here. So I'm just going to come along with my paper snips and trim right off. Just give it a little bit of a cleanup on that edge. There, I'm happier with that. So paper snips are great for those little pieces. Okay, so there's the base of our card. Now I've taken the Celebrate and I've cut out 2. One in the Grapefruit Grove color and one in Early Espresso. Okay, pop these little circles out of these letters over my trash can off camera. But then I created the eclipse technique by taking the 2 and layering them on top of each other, and you're going to want to do that with your fine tip glue pen. So, just taking this off, clean off my tip. So I'm going to start with the Grapefruit Grove. So I'm just going to add a little drop, really. Doesn't take much, coming out of the end of that tip. It's very sticky adhesive, so, and it's liquid, so it spreads, so you don't need a lot. So I'm taking that, and I'm just going to layer it on top of the early espresso one. So just lay it down kind of one letter at a time so you get placement the way you want it, and then just hold that for a second so the two layers adhere. Okay, and then I'm going to repeat that. I'm just going to put some on the back of my early espresso section, and then that's going to go down on the front of my tag. Now the tip about this fine tip glue is when you're finished, you want to make sure you get that cap back on pretty quick. Otherwise that really fine tip will clog up on you possibly. I've had one bottle clog up on me, but that is a tip. So the tops have these tiny pins in them, and so you just need to feed that pin back down into the dispenser hole so that it keeps the glue clean and ready to use. Okay, so there's that. Now on this one I added pearls. On this one I decided maybe we would trim out some of the extra flowers from another piece of that designer series paper. So I'm just going to cut along the edge here, and then I'm going to pop these up as embellishments on the tag. So let's see, one, I usually do things in 3s or 5s, so let me get 3 cut out here. So don't feel like our designer series paper has to be used in a full piece or a big section. You know, you can cut it down into trim and die cut out or scissor cut out, you know, images from it. So you can use it in lots of different ways. And remember, it always coordinates with our cardstock selection, so it's easy to create a winning creation. Let's see, get this third one trimmed out here. Almost done. Alright, so 1, 2, 3. So let's go ahead and put those on dimensionals. I think maybe we'll add a couple of pearls too. Okay, pull the backers off. Alright, so see how I mean? I can just piece these, and they can overlap that celebrate a little bit. There's no reason they can't. I can even tuck this kind of under the L on that celebrate. And let's see, 1, 2, maybe just 2. Okay, we'll do 2, because I don't know where I want the third one. And then I am going to go ahead and add a couple of these pearls to the centers of those flowers as well, just to give them a little extra something, a little extra bling, I like to say sometimes. So, and I'll do the same on the other one. So I'm using my fingernails. You can use your piercing tool or the end of your bone folder or your scissors to kind of peel and stick these pre-adhesive embellishments. But there we go, 2 tags, easy peasy. So I hope you are enjoying the new catalog, and I hope you are making your wish list as to things that you want to start adding to your collection. Please remember, I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I appreciate any business you might want to send my way on my online store, and if you need help answering questions or placing an order, please contact me. I'm always happy to lend a hand in making your stamping days happier. And again, you can subscribe to my show and tell newsletter. This week's videos, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday video, will be on next Tuesday's edition with all the documents there for you to know how I cut all my supplies and which supplies I used. So I guess until next week, when we'll do some more fun stamping from the catalog. Have a great weekend and happy stamping. Bye everybody.